Good evening, I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to Camnet TV Main News. We sincerely apologize for delaying the news. The headlines. UPND MP applies for adoption on the PF ticket. Cybersecurity bill goes through second reading. Human Rights Commission says a fired Lusaka Police Commissioner Nelson Piri ordered the killing of 2 citizens. In international news, space rocket goes up in flames after landing. And in sports, Zambia under-17 national team off to Morocco. Join me with the main news and details after this commercial.
Can I have that meal over there? And I really want that crisp, fresh apple taste from the garden. Can I have the apple?
I think I'll have my big bite 2 meal with happy waziwaka. Give us your...
Enjoy an appetizing big bite meal with an happy drink of your choice. A meal is not a meal without an happy drink. And now introducing Happy in a can.
And now the main news in detail. The Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit DMMU has begun the process of relocating families of Kuku compound whose houses have been submerged in water following the continued heavy downpour in Lusaka. And DMMU National Coordinator Chandakawe, who visited the families, assured them of government support throughout their stay at the camp. Mr. Kawe said it is the desire of government to see every Zambian safe and free from all forms of disaster. More in the following report.
Floods witnessed in several parts of Lusaka have not spared Misisi and the Kuku compounds in Chawama constituency. In this locality, this is a perennial issue. And around the historical famous Ngwenya Dam, surrounding compounds are among the most affected by floods. 2 weeks ago, we visited the area and found out that some tenants and landlords had abandoned their houses due to massive flooding in the area, but for others who had limited resources, they continued to endure the hardship.
Ingwenya yazula nchi naumu mwazula mmanyumba waona mvula ngayalokako manzi yachokera pansi na munyumba omuntu alichilika tamensha yayedefu moku noti yangere munyumba but manzi yachoka pansi umvera nomvera tiyachoka na power kanji tuwachula mwe bantu shishi baba government gakuti batu wafwako shani nga efyo benga tuwafwako solution isheo benga tuwafwako nga kupompa nga kupanga ma drainage tete tuishibe tuachula tatukweto kwa kutwala abana.
The Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit has responded to the cause of the people, and they have since begun relocating the families of Misisi and Kuku compound whose houses have been submerged in water following the continued heavy downpour in Lusaka.
Wherever you go, it's not who is going to rent, it's government that is going to rent homes until the rain season has started around here because of the issues that is happening here. So then we'll support you with it. So all of the 10 families here, you need to move like yesterday. So my team from Lusaka province will help you to identify a man. Then we'll pay for you to set up. Yes, I'm going to but in the next 2 weeks,
There is evidence that a permanent solution will be found to this annual problem.
Otherwise, if we have to every year, menshi yalese feeling yaloke mfula abengi mkombo nyumbala kuka. So if tu amone milimo mwambo kubombo kumwatu afwa drainage mwatu la tuashi bati mwala pitilishe milimo yenu. So mwatu afuilisha pamonga ba blue water mpitilishe mwafuilishe kona banu abakweto obusanso wame.
The people of this compound are usually warned prior to the rainy season, but such calls are fallen on deaf ear. It is with hope that a lasting solution will be found. Otherwise, things will remain as they are. Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
The Human Rights Commission, in its final report over the killing of State Prosecutor Nsamansama Chipyoka and UPND cadre Joseph Kaunda, says the police are fully behind the shooting to death of the two citizens and must take full responsibility. The report has since described the act as being tantamount to extrajudicial killing. Commission Chairperson Madford Mwandenga announced the summary finding and recommendation of the Human Rights Commission's investigations into the killing of the two citizens in Lusaka Thursday morning. The Commission has since recommended the state to charge the former Police Commissioner Nelson Piri with murder as supervisor on the day.
The shooting to death of two innocent citizens on the 23rd of December 2020 by police continues to raise debate, with various institutions making recommendations, even when at least 2 weeks ago the killer was identified as Constable Fanuel Nyundo and is being tried by the courts of law. Thursday, the Human Rights Commission released a report on the investigations it carried, which have clearly stated that the state, in this case the police, killed Nsamansama and Joseph Kaunda when the UPND president was called for questioning at police headquarters. Revealing this development to the nation, Human Rights Commission Chairperson Madford Mwandenga has since recommended that the former police commissioner for Lusaka province, Nelson Piri, be charged for murder alongside Fanuel Nyundo because he acted on instruction.
Former Commissioner of Police for Lusaka province, Mr. Nelson Piri, must be jointly charged with a case of murder together with the subordinate officer or officers who took his orders to shoot Mr. Nsamansama and Mr. Joseph Kaunda. 2, that the estate of the deceased persons be adequately compensated by the state. 3, that the Zambia Police Service should desist from the apparent criminalization of the right to assembly as well as movement.
And the Human Rights Commission has also indicated that the police might have been influenced to act in that manner by the orders given by the two ministers in charge of Home Affairs and Lusaka province.
Some were directed as follows. Let me take this opportunity through you, Permanent Secretary, to Lusaka Police Commissioner, if he is here, or his representative is here, Mr. Nelson Piri, that tomorrow I don't want any noise in Lusaka province or Lusaka district. I have heard that there are some people who are planning to come to Lusaka to offer solidarity to they want to come, bring confusion. You know your job very well. You know your job very well. End of quote. The Commission strongly believes that such statements from members of the executive could have contributed to the arbitrary action by the police, which resulted into the shooting to death of the duo.
Meanwhile, the Commission says it will use all the available means to ensure that the recommendations made are followed, including that of suing the state if they disregard the recommendations.
If our recommendations are not followed, there may be need for us to resort to trying to use the provision in the Human Rights Act, which stipulates that if somebody doesn't follow the recommendation that we make to that person in his capacity as the authority who has been found wanting, then that person commits an offense for which he is liable to a fine and to both a fine or imprisonment or to both.
For now, Fanuel Nyundo is appearing before court and was charged with 2 counts of murder. Sharon Kalimbola, Camnet News.
In other news, the Cybersecurity Bill has passed second reading in Parliament. 83 members of Parliament voted for the bill, while 52 voted against it. The Cybersecurity Bill, just like Bill 10, has raised divergent views, with government justifying that the Cybersecurity Bill seeks to offer protection to persons against cybercrime or that provides child online protection. Government also says the bill intends to promote the responsible use of social media platforms. The bill, according to government, further aims to ensure the provision of cybersecurity in the country, declaration of protection of critical information infrastructure, provide for the collection and the preservation of evidence of computer and network-related crimes, as well as provide for the registration of cybersecurity services providers. On the other hand, the opposition are of the view that it intends to stifle the freedom of citizens, as the state would have the power to access their personal information against their will. The bill has now reached the committee stage and will come up in Parliament on Friday.
The results of the poll are as follows: yes 83, no 52, abstention 1. Therefore, the question has been resolved in the affirmative. Let the bill be read a second time.
The Cybersecurity and Cybercrimes Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2021.
Committee stage to be taken when?
Tomorrow, Mr. Speaker.
Committee stage to be taken tomorrow.
3 political parties plus 1 civil society organization have formed an alliance they are calling Kwacha National Alliance ahead of the 2021 general elections. The 3 political parties include the Zambia Direct Democracy Movement ZDDM, Zambia Democratic Congress ZADECO, and Common Cause Democracy CCD. Ex-ZAMSA Liberation Veteran Multipurpose Society has also been incorporated into the alliance. The alliance has since appointed Heritage Party President Chishala Kateka as its president.
With only 4 months till the country heads to the general elections, more political parties seem to be teaming up with an aim to unseat the ruling Patriotic Front at the August elections. Firstly, it was the United Party for National Development, UPND, which recently announced its alliance, which is called UPND Alliance. Now, a new alliance called Kwacha National Alliance has been born ahead of the 12th August 2021 general election. The political parties, which have teamed together to come up with this alliance, have announced new Heritage Party President Chishala Kateka as its presidential candidate for the forthcoming elections. The issue of the running mate has, however, been left out for future consideration and promised to announce it at a later stage.
This 2021 is an election year which gives us the opportunity to change managers and replace the current government with a better one. To this effect, Madam President, a number of political parties and civil society organizations have identified this party, the New Heritage Party, more than all other contesting the August 12, 2021 elections, as having the best plan to salvage our country out of this current problem. The following parties and civil society organizations: Zambia Direct Democracy Movement, ZDDM, ZADECO, Zambia Democratic Congress, Common Cause Democracy, ex-ZAMSA Liberation Veterans, Multipurpose Cooperatives, have therefore agreed to form an affirmation called the Kwacha National Alliance, which will fully support and back the New Heritage in this year's elections. It is worth noting that this Kwacha National Alliance list is not exhaustive and includes various unions, cooperatives, and associations of farmers, marketeers, bus drivers, taxi drivers, teachers, and school unions.
And Heritage Party President Chishala Kateka says the formed alliance is determined to bridge the difference between the rich and the poor, which is the reason why the PF has lost touch with reality. She, however, regretted that some people have literally sold the country to the highest bidder from the people who contributed to the running of the political parties striving for the government. She disclosed that running of political parties should not be as expensive as seems to be in the country today.
Zambia is well endowed with massive resources which Zambians do not partake in. Our God-given wealth seems to elude us, the Zambians. As the New Heritage Party, Mr. Chairman, we are saying that the time has come for Zambians to partake of their wealth, their heritage. It is our right. It's for this reason that we will ensure that we form government after the August 2021 elections and that we put in place deliberate, well thought through policies, programs and strategies to ensure that this is so.
Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
President Edgar Lungu says his government is determined to transform Zambia into a prosperous middle-income nation by 2030. The head of state also says he is committed to create a new Zambia, which is a strong and dynamic middle-income industrial nation that provides opportunities for improving the well-being of all, expressing value of social income justice. This is according to a statement on President Edgar Lungu's official Facebook and monitored by Camnet TV News. Last week, while in Kasama, President Edgar Lungu expressed worry at the increased commodity prices in the country but accused a non-grouping of sabotaging the income. But the opposition United Party for National Development, UPND, through its Vice President Mutale Lumango, has accused President Edgar Lungu of lacking information on the extent of economic damage his government has inflicted in the lives of many Zambians. Ms. Nalumango questions how the president would offer to improve the economy when not long ago he was mocking the same citizens when he said the economy was doing very well, and he laughs when he hears people saying the economy is doing bad. Ms. Nalumango was speaking at a media briefing in Lusaka on Thursday afternoon. And speaking at the same briefing, United Party for National Development UPND President Hakainde Hichilema has assured all those whose contracts have been terminated at Konkola Copper Mines KCM that their contracts will be given back to them when he assumes office in 2021. Meanwhile, Mr. Hichilema has called on government to pay off all miners at KCM that have been declared redundant their full packages instead of piecemeal payments, which will not benefit them. Mr. Hichilema has alleged that the ruling Patriotic Front government is declaring miners at Konkola Copper Mine KCM redundant, but doesn't want to openly say so because they want votes from them in August. He says UPND is concerned with the happenings at KCM, stating that the mine is in more debt from the time it was placed on care and maintenance than it was under normal operation. The National Union of Miners and Allied Workers has dismissed reports that Vendata Resources Holdings seeks to have an engagement with the union leadership to discuss matters relating to Konkola Copper Mines KCM PLC. Union President James Chancellor says government's decision to place KCM in liquidation was an outcome of a thorough, thoughtful process following intense investigations on Vendata's failure at KCM. He says the union had highlighted Vendata's failure to authorities for many years until the government decided to take a firm and sound decision to divorce with the company by placing KCM under liquidation. Mr. Chansas is convinced that there is nothing new that Vendata can offer, and their promise to invest $1.5 billion United States dollars in KCM is mere illusion and acts of trickery. He says so sen and well-meaning citizens would love to bring back Vendata to KCM, and Nuwamao takes great exception to Vendata's calculated, divided and rules tricks. Mr. Chansar has reminded Vendata that NUMAW leadership has integrity and cannot engage in any discussions with a company that peddled lies for many years and mistreated KCM workers.
Had highlighted Vedanta's failures to authorities for many years until the government decided to take a firm and sound decision to divorce with the company by placing KCM under liquidation. Numau is convinced that there is nothing new that Vedanta can offer and their promise to invest 1.5 billion in KCM is mere illusions and acts of trickery. No sane and well-meaning citizen would love to bring back Vedanta to KCM, and Numau takes great exception to Vedanta's calculated divide and rule tricks. Numau is in total solidarity with the government of the Republic of Zambia, KCM workers, communities where KCM operates, the Mine Workers Union of Zambia, MUZ, and its members, and the United Mine Workers Union of Zambia, MUZ, and its members on the issue of Vedanta losing its social license to operate in Zambia. Vedanta must realize that the Numau leadership has integrity and cannot sink so low to engage in any discussion with a company that peddled lies for many years and mistreated KCM workers.
In other news, the Zambia Public Procurement Agency, ZPPA, has urged procurement entities to adhere to the procurement regulations in order to ensure that there is transparency, accountability, efficiency, competition, and value for money in the procurement sector. The authority says the introduction of the electronic governance procurement system has proved to be an effective tool in administering procurement issues. Speaking during the fourth quarter of 2020 media briefing, the authority says the 206 tender were published on the EGP system. Meanwhile, 4 entities, including Zamtel, Indeni, the Ministry of Energy, and Kawama Town Council, have been singled out as outstanding in the utilization of the electronic procurement system. ZPPA Director General Ida Chela also disclosed that on the submission of various reports and the compliance assessment undertaken revealed that 3 out of the 20 procurement entities assessed were substantially compliant, 12 were fairly compliant, while 5 were non-compliant with the procurement procedures.
They are supposed to be submitting this to the authority so that we review and assess whether they are complying. So from the compliance assessments conducted, 3 out of 20 procuring entities assessed were substantially compliant, then 12 were fairly compliant, and 5 were non-compliant. So meaning at least 15 were compliant, save for the 5. So that was not too bad. In addition, ZPPA conducts capacity assessment visits in order to follow up on the recommendations that are made during the compliance assessments. In the fourth quarter, 18 capacity assessments visits were conducted in various PEs in Western Province, Eastern Province, Northwestern, and Wapula provinces. In exercise of its oversight function in public procurement, ZPPA conducts investigations on various procurement matters and considers appeals from aggrieved bidders. In the fourth quarter, 4 appeals were determined, out of which 2 were dismissed in accordance with Section 55, subsection A of the Public Procurement Act, while 2 were upheld. This means that the 2 were not successful, their grounds were not successful, then the other 2 were successful, and instructions were given to the procuring entities to in accordance to the findings of the appeals committee.
You're watching Camnet TV's main news. For now, we take our first set of commercials. We'll be back with more news after that.
Super Cereal! We always start our day with nutritious Super Cereal. It's so easy to make. Just add hot water or milk. Fortified with essential vitamins, gives you energy and keeps you alert. Super Cereal is so good for you. Comes in 3 yummy flavors: original, banana, and strawberry, and tastes so good.
Easy Super Cereal is made from non-GMO maize and soya and is good for the whole family. Found in all leading stores. Quick and easy.
Tastes delicious.
Full of goodness.
makes you stronger.
Super Cereal!
Easy Super Cereal. Brought to you by Java Foods.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our Zesco units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
And why do you look so pale and busy scratching yourself?
Well, Amwandi, you know my skin is very sensitive. I've tried all the skin products and nothing seems to work.
Have you tried Oracle Pure Glycerin?
Oracle Pure Glycerin? What's that?
Just give me a minute.
Oracle Pure Glycerin gives your skin a youthful and healthy glow.
Ish, you're glowing. Don't tell me. Yes! I already know the secrets. Oracle Pure Glycerin!
Try Oracle Pure Glycerin for that perfect skin.
Hello, I'm Deborah Lukalu, all the way from South Africa. You are watching Camnet channel, not just another channel. God bless you. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. We continue with the rest of the news. The Joseph Akafumba-led National Democratic Congress Party, NDC, has gone back to court seeking an order of interim injunction directing that its under fire President Chishimba Kambwili be restrained from allegedly masquerading as NDC president. NDC Secretary General Bridget Atanga, who has sued Mr. Kambwili, wants the Lusaka High Court to stop Mr. Kambwili, his servants, agents or whatsoever from transacting any party business or make any decision or take any steps or actions whatsoever in the name of NDC until full determination of the matter or until further order of the court. According to the affidavit in support of the ex parte summons for an order of interim injunction filed in the Lusaka High Court Principal Registry, Ms. Atanga states that Mr. Kambwili was a former interim president of the NDC and the party was registered with the Registrar of Societies on September 17, 2017, and at the time of the registration, the promoters of NDC lodged a constitution of the party with the Registrar of Societies. Ms. Atanga states that, however, on February 27, 2021, despite having ceased to hold the temporary position of the interim president of the NDC, Kambwili and his cohorts held a gathering in Luansha purporting that the said gathering was a central committee of the party when in fact not. Ms. Atanga states that the gathering was largely attended by Luansha-based sympathizers of Mr. Kambwili and lacked the reasonably expected composition of the Vice President, National Chairperson, Secretary General, and Deputy Secretary General. Nalikwanda UPND Member of Parliament Godfrey Lungwangwa has applied to recontest his seat on the ruling Patriotic Front PF ticket. Mr. Lungwangwa came under fire within his party for going against the party instruction to vote against the 10 controversial bill Bill 10, which he later voted for himself. In his defense, Mr. Lungwangwa said he could not vote against it as he was part of the select committee tasked by the Speaker to clean up the Constitution. A PF list of aspiring candidates for various constituencies in Western Province also include Mr. Lungwangwa's name. Mr. Lungwangwa and his counterpart for Solwezi West, Teddy Kasonzo, and Senenga MP Mukumbuta Mulowa all voted with the PF on Bill 10, which however could not go through. Others are former Western Province Minister Peniso Njewudu, who is aspiring to contest the Sinjembele seat on the PF ticket. In other news, government has released funds for the expansion and rehabilitation of water and sewerage infrastructure in Mwansabombwe, Nchelenge and Chienge district. And Mwatakazembe of the Lunda-speaking people is gratified with government's determination to improve the water reticulation system. About 10 million kwacha has been allocated to Nchelenge and Chienge district for expansion and rehabilitation of water and sewerage infrastructure, while Mwansabombwe has been given 800,000 kwacha for upgrading the water and sanitation infrastructure. The project, once completed, is expected to benefit over thousands of residents. Minister of Water Development, Sanitation and Environmental Protection, Raphael Nakachinda, revealed this when he paid a courtesy call on the Mwata in Mwansabombwe this morning.
I know your abilities, I know your capabilities. And just so, assuming if PF forms the next government, His Excellency President Lungu will keep you at this ministry so that you continue with your programs. To all of us, thank you so much to those that have accompanied the minister.
But through the GOVT company, we also have the contractor that was contracted to work on the same. And money was released through my ministry of amounted to 800,000 kwacha. So I had to sign on and come with the contractor, who's here, the layman contractor. He has assured me, Your Royal Highness, that over 70% of the equipment and utensils they need has already been procured. Some which is remaining is basically on the way. They basically just waited for me to come and officially introduce them to you, Your Royal Highness. And I think the coming week they'll be on site to make sure that they work expeditiously and complete the works that are expected to be done within a short possible period of time, so that we can improve the quality of service that is rendered here.
A Zambian clergy who was based abroad but now in Zambia has expressed interest to stand as presidential candidate on the United Independence Party UNIP ticket in the 2021 general elections. Addressing the media Thursday, Reverend Trevor Mwamba explains that his decision to vie political office is to serve the Zambian people whom he says are suffering. Bishop Mwamba has since discouraged politics of violence regardless of who emerges victorious during the adoption process and after the actual elections.
On your right or left side, not in terms of political kingdom or ambition, but I just want to be there in love and in justice and in truth and in commitment to others, so that we can make of this old world a new world. This is what truly matters in making this old world a new one, in making of the old Zambia a new Zambia, all of us together. And to do this, here we are. To do this, this involves everybody. To create a world of love, you must be loved. To create a world of justice, you must be just. To create a world of peace, you must be peace. To create a world without fear, you must be without fear in your life. To create a world of diversity, you must value and celebrate diversity. To respect and understand other cultures, other ethnic groups, and nations, you must be humble. You always reflect outward what you are inward. A Kitwe youth identified as Lazarus Sichimba says the youths of Kitwe are saddened to note that their leaders are living lavish lives while the people who elected them into their offices are living in abject poverty. Mr. Sichimba has particularly singled out COURTROOM Member of Parliament Joseph Malanji, who has come under fire for acquiring himself a multi-million executive chopper when some people of his constituency are going to bed without food. He says despite the money used to purchase the chopper being personal funds for Mr. Malanji, it is important that him being the people's representative, he should have seen to empower people in his constituency. Mr. Sichimba has recommended that some of the money spent on the chopper could have gone towards setting up of youth skills center for the young people in which will ultimately empower them. Mr. Sichimba made these remarks in an interview with Camnet TV News.
Where I live, we have a minister who can go and boast that he has bought a plane. And if you look at his constituency, Kapoto and some other areas where he's actually presiding as an area MP, we have a situation where most of the residents there are somewhere in Kapoto and these other areas where they actually, some of them 2 days they don't eat, and you have an area member of parliament who is actually boasting that he has bought a plane. This is quite uncalled for, and as Zambians it is very disheartening, especially for us the young people, because if that money was put to use in terms of trying to come up with skills, especially for young people, it would have gone a long way. Now, I want to actually to sound the echo, the warning to the Drug Enforcement Commission that they should redeem themselves this time around. Let them come up with a proper investigation. If there is another way, if this is the way of cleansing Honorable Malanji, we are not going to accept as young people here on the Okapa Belt.
Musanzala constituency member of parliament Peter Daka has urged water engineers to change the way they sink boreholes that are deep enough. Mr. Daka said this is because when boreholes are sunk so deep, the water will be safer for people to use. Mr. Daka said the boreholes that are shallow are easily contaminated and its water are not safe for human consumption.
The current situation of the COVID-19 pandemic, clean water use is one of the solutions for improved hygiene for people to prevent the further spread of the coronavirus disease. However, in most rural communities, access to clean water becomes a challenge because some of the water points are not safe for human use. This has prompted Musanzala constituency member of parliament Peter Daka to have a word of advice to the water engineers on how deep they should be sinking the boreholes to ensure that its water is safe for human use.
Looking at the present situation of COVID, and that's why the emphasis has been put on the water recreation program. Other than asking people to donate sanitizer, we thought that the permanent solution that can help us more is to ensure that everywhere in Musanzala we have clean water. So the last allocation of CDF, which was 1.6, was given to the two councils that exist under Musanzala, vis-a-vis Lusangazi and the Petauke. Far in the Nyampande area, we have done 16 boreholes. In the Sando area, we are doing another 16 boreholes.
We've had a very big challenge of water. At first, what our MP, Mr. Peter Daka, did was to rehabilitate boreholes. He has rehabilitated many boreholes, like in my ward it's more than 79. Then from there, he has now brought Constituency Development Fund, and we are drilling boreholes.
The development has cheered people in the community.
Nyamikila boma ya PF konso talandira boho muonga zikomo kuli mweo MP manzi talandira lero batibolera boho ni ili pano pamunzi
neo ne muntu wote mwa pachitukuko chanitera aidiga lungu apita daka tenze na mavuto amanzi pano pamunzi komalomba paniletera ichi chitukuko mavuto amanzi asira.
Indeed, as the saying goes, water is life, hence the need for people in rural areas to have access to clean water just like those in urban and peri-urban areas. Naomi Mwimba, Lusangazi District, Eastern Province.
We'll take our last set of commercials. Coming next is international news.
Dr. Bigron, musaibala komutienda ukuni gift na land. Uchenkubeti uibise mojo basayone. Oh! Mwina moshi, nakuletera njinga. Latest inaluvesi gear na mawaipa.
Difficult, chidi ashiria njinga. Liam 19 pendefcon. Transport, we got it.
Nanga phone for communication. Ipu sana chizungu. Yeah, you see what I mean?
It's a Camnet, difficult.
It's communication. We got it. Indemoni! Powerful system ndimba X-Buzz.
Mufumile kukalale. Na mnaimo muli bakumushi. We got it. Yo Bikron, utole no leta nchemfule mungani. Ngecho wachira pose nishichinshi. 1, 2, 3, both of you. Kabala ngempang. Don't be stupid. We got it.
You know I can take her a bake.
Yes, my dear.
I was thinking of getting you a Bugatti on your birthday.
Really?
I'm quiet. My name is Yana.
Don't worry, my friend. That's why there is insurance.
Insurance?
You heard me.
Not just any kind of insurance, but Savenda General Insurance, a company that offers superior customer service, highly professional and dedicated staff. We are not just any insurance company, but an insurance company that actually pays our claims. We cover, among others, fire, marine, aviation, engineering, agriculture, motor vehicle, and miscellaneous insurance. So, live life to the full, knowing that Savenda General Insurance has got you covered. Savenda General Insurance. Insurance excellence.
Hello, I'm Deborah Lukalu, all the way from South Africa. You are watching Camnet channel, not just another channel. God bless you. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. We continue with the rest of the news. In international news, it has been the third time, unlucky again for billionaire Elon Musk's attempt at a successful test flight on his latest rocket prototype. Starship rocket SN-10 exploded a day after application opened for the first commercial flight to the moon. The rocket soared into the sky in high-altitude test on Wednesday from Boca Chica in Texas, then flew itself back to Earth and maneuvered into its first successful upright landing, but about 8 minutes later it blew itself to pieces, launching into the air and crashing back to the ground. Let's take a look at this.
Ladies and gentlemen, clearing through the smoke there, Starship SN-10 has made history.
It looked like a successful test flight for SpaceX's next generation rocket,
That was until this.
Wow!
It's not clear what went wrong. The private American space firm launched the giant rocket a few minutes earlier. After a high-altitude test flight, the 10th Starship prototype, or SN-10, touched down in the U.S. state of Texas. The company called it a beautiful soft landing, with its billionaire founder Elon Musk praising the fact it landed in one piece. 2 previous prototypes crashed into the ground. But SpaceX remains confident that Starship will eventually replace its existing Falcon rockets and become the world's first reusable space vehicle.
Any type of engineering feat where you are not only developing new type of propulsion system, but a new type of fuselage, there's so many testing boundaries that have to occur. And so it's not unsurprising that we have seen the hiccups play out in real time, but it is a good thing.
Having sent NASA astronauts into orbit last year, SpaceX also has ambitious plans for commercial flights.
The first civilian lunar mission, Dear Moon.
It's promised a lunar excursion for Japanese billionaire Yasaku Maezawa on a Starship in 2023. Maezawa began accepting applications for 8 others to join him, a day before the failed flight test on Thursday.
I want to reach out to a wider, more diverse audience to give more people across the world the opportunity to join this journey.
If SpaceX is successful, private spaceflight will be the world's first. And despite the latest failure, Musk says he's optimistic he'll be able to send passengers to the Moon, Mars, and beyond. Emily Stu, Al Jazeera.
We now get into sports news. The Zambia Under-17 men's national team players have departed for Morocco for the Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations. The tournament will run from March 13th to 31st, and Zambia's first Group A assignment is against Ivory Coast on 14th of March. Zambia's other Group A opponent include host Morocco and Uganda. Well, that news item brings us to the end of Camnet TV's main news. But before we go, the headlines once again. UPND Member of Parliament applies for adoption on the PF ticket. Cybersecurity bill goes through second reading. Human Rights Commission says a fired Lusaka Police Commissioner Nelson Piri ordered the killing of 2 citizens. In international news, SpaceX rocket goes up in flames after landing. And in sports, Zambia Under-17 national team off to Morocco. The Camnet verse of the day is coming from the book of Hebrews 12 verse 14 to 15, and it reads, "Pursue peace with everyone. The holiness without it no one will see the Lord. Make sure that no one falls short of the grace of God, and that no root of bitterness springs up, causing trouble, and by it defiling many." I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Thank you for joining me. Continue watching Camnet TV, not just another channel. Good evening.